Hey everybody, John here. Welcome back to Catbird Hill. So, we have not been doing a lot of filming lately. And the reason for that, a couple reasons for that. Number one, we've been working really hard inside of our house. If you recall, at the end of last year into the first part of this year, we were having a lot of big projects done inside the house. We moved out of the house for a number of weeks when air conditioning was being done. We were having a bathroom renovated. So in the aftermath of that, we've been cleaning up. I've been doing a lot of installation of new lighting and some new wiring in the house and a lot of painting. If you checked out my pants, I'm wearing part of the paint. So a lot of inside work. And the other reason is it has been so wet here in southeastern Pennsylvania. We can't get through more than 2 or 3 days without major rainfall, and it's beautiful. It's 70 degrees today. We had a day like this yesterday, beautiful sunshine, nice and breezy. Everything starts to dry out, and then of course tomorrow we've got 3/4 of an inch of rain predicted, about a 1/2 an inch of rain predicted for the weekend. So we just can't seem to get a week or two stretch without rain. And if you can see here, even with the R14 tires on the Kubota L2501, it's just, it tears up the turf. I mean, I've been coming back to this area quite a bit through the winter time, so things are a little beat up, but I really can't go too far without tearing up a lot of ground. So I'm back at our wood pavilion here, and you might recall from a previous video where we were at the point we were basically selling out of our bundle firewood. And we'll just take a little walk around the cover here and try not to get too much sun into your eyes. So this entire side of our wood pavilion was totally packed to the ceiling at the beginning of the season with wood, and this is all we have left right here. This is the stuff that is well seasoned. It would be ready to to burn. So we pretty much sold out of just about everything we had. There's a pile of stuff down here. I just kind of call this chunk wood. Some of it's kind of punky. I'm just going to give this to our neighbors next door. They have a huge fire pit which they use all the time with their kids and grandkids. So we're just gonna, this is great fire pit wood. It's dry, it's ready to burn. So we're just gonna give them that because I don't want to bag that up. So what you're looking at here is mostly maple, which you might recall from a previous video. This maple was stored in a huge pile in our field that I just finished driving through. And I spent a lot of time last year, the end of last year, splitting this. And unfortunately, I just, as things go, many of you know, the best laid plans don't really always come to fruition. So it just laid there. It laid there, longer than I wanted it to. Over about a month and a half ago, I started clearing it up. Just, maybe every few days, take a few bucket loads and filled up the back of the big tool rack with it. And we just started stacking it back here. So this wood was cut over a year ago. The trees were cut over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago. It laid in a pile of logs that I did have elevated off the ground. I bucked up those logs. I split everything, probably half of it by hand, half of it with a wood splitter that I rented. And I did do a video of that, a review of the rented wood splitter. That's before we got the unicorn here. And I split it all up, and I just made a huge pile and then got distracted and it sat there. So one of the things I wanted to do today, just kind of for the heck of it, is check the moisture content of the wood. So I did a little research online, and I ended up getting a wood moisture meter. This is a General brand. I saw it online, but it actually was, the model is MMD4E. If you can see that there. It was actually a few dollars cheaper at Lowe's, and I've got a Lowe's card, so you get an extra 5% off when you use your Lowe's card. So it actually ended up being a pretty good deal. These things, I think this thing might have been $30, somewhere around there. I went online, I found all kinds of moisture meters, the pin type, some that don't have pins, anywhere from $300 down to $20. So I didn't feel like spending a lot of money for checking Firewood, but I'm really curious to see how this wood reads, because it's kind of an unusual situation. It was cut in log form a year and a half ago, sat on the ground in log form for probably 6 to 9 months, and then it just got split, bucked up and split, and then it sat out in the sun. Now it was in full sun, total sun exposure through the end of the last summer and into the fall. So the top part of the pile definitely did dry out. The bottom part, as I was lifting it up, obviously was more saturated with moisture, and just kind of, some pieces I just threw out. I just wasn't happy with them. I wouldn't have been happy selling them to a customer. So I'm really curious here to see what the moisture content is. I'm going to take a couple of different pieces. I want to grab a couple pieces from the middle row here that are sort of tucked in. Yeah, that's a piece of maple. Let's see what we got here. I don't know if you can see that. It's right around 6%. Wow. That's surprising. Now, this might have been a piece that was sitting out in the sun. I don't really know. Let me get a piece that's tucked in here a little bit. This is interesting. This is a piece of oak that was this is a white oak. This was actually cut down ahead of this maple, and I actually had this wood bucked up into rounds, up elevated on a rack well above the ground. So this was just sitting dry in rounds. But this is white oak. Let's see what happens here. Interesting. 16.6. I don't know if you guys can read that. 16.6% moisture content. That's oak. Again, I don't know if that's typical oak. I think I do remember somebody saying, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Brad from Firewood at the Furnace or Brad from Nelson Ridge Farm. One of you guys, I think, said oak takes longer to dry typically than other species. So I love oak. I mean, we have a lot of white oak here, and I've burned a lot of white oak over the years. It's, as you know, it's a great burning wood. Try to take a piece that actually looks damp. This one here, this would be a good one to check because this was actually lying on the ground. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is maple, and there are actually grass clippings here from when I was running the mower and probably blew grass over this. So this was split. It was lying on the ground. So we know that this one came from the bottom of the pile. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can really get in there. .8%. I don't know. I think that, and the wood feels dry to me. I mean, I know, it's not, you don't go by feel, but there are some splits in the ends of the pieces. So I think that this wood is actually drier than what I thought it was, which is great, because if for some reason we get an order, a request for some more wood, I've got plenty here. It was interesting. I got I got a message from a customer that I sold a half a cord to maybe about a month ago, and they texted me and said they needed another half a cord They needed it right away. That was this past Saturday morning when we were actually having like a little mini blizzard here. We had about 2 inches of snow. It was just a total mess. I don't think I certainly had not tested the moisture content of this wood, so I would not have been comfortable just selling them that. I definitely didn't have a half a quart of wood, so I told them I just couldn't accommodate them this time. They got the wood from somebody else, but they said they would reach back out to me. They really liked the firewood I sold them earlier this year. So anyhow, I think that I can probably sell this wood. It's definitely drier than I thought it was. The oak, most of the white oak is piled down here. I like to keep that separate, and I like to mix the bags up. I'll put in some oak, some maple. This is all. This actually the end stacks here, not the middle. The middle is just. Actually, I think the middle is this is all cherry. This whole area here is black cherry. You can kind of see some of the bark structure down there. That's classic cherry. I like that the cherry splits really well, as a lot of you guys know, and I love making what I call the blocks out of the cherry. I get much better blocking like this to do the end stacks from cherry and oak than I do from maple. Maple just seems to like grenade on me for some reason. I don't know why, but anyhow, this is all cherry. This was cut probably all within the last 6 months, bucked up, and I had a couple small piles. I did have most of it up off the ground. I've got a little more cherry left here. What you saw me load and dump earlier, that was all silver maple. That was from that huge maple that came down back in the fall. And I did a video on bucking that up with the 500i. That was the first real test I gave the 500i. So I've been splitting some cherry, some maple. I want to get all this split up, but again, I'm constantly fighting the I'm fighting the elements here. Not that I should be complaining. I just saw Mike from Life in the 906 cutting up, felling a tree, and it looks like he was trudging through his woods, and it looked like the snow was 3 feet deep, and he toting his chainsaw, had his chaps on, and he was fighting through that snow, and God love him. That's, you really got to want to cut some firewood. I certainly have nothing to complain about because the conditions are nowhere near like that, but sometimes I think I'd rather take snow and cold than just this repeated rain and wet. It makes it so hard. Most of you probably know from previous videos how our property is built on a fairly significant slope. It's just, we're kind of at the high side, and it just goes down to floodplain down there where our creek is. And I'm never driving on a flat surface, so I'm always really conscious about the loads I have in the tractor, making sure they're balanced, and having a lot of mud and just loose turf underneath. I'm just not comfortable. I've only had the Kubota L2501 for coming up on a year. I think it takes a couple years to really get your comfort level with a machine. So I probably could be a little more aggressive driving it, but I'm always concerned about safety. But the moisture, the ground is just so soft that I'm really being a little guarded doing tractor work. So that's one of the other main reasons, like I said, why we haven't done too many videos lately. But I wanted to give you an update. I wanted to test out. That's the first time I used that moisture meter. I really wanted to test out the moisture content of this wood here, and it makes me feel really good. Beth just got home from work, so she was worried about running out of supply for our bundle business. Things slowed down a little bit over the past couple of weeks because I think the weather's been warming. But in the last couple of days, we've sold 5 or 6 bundles. And I don't know, I think maybe people are moving to using the wood for fire pits because we're getting, some nicer weather and people are hanging out. And also, too, we've had the time change, so we get an extra hour of daylight. I think people are definitely, moving outside to enjoy themselves. So thanks a lot for watching. Just wanted to do an update on what's going on here. We'll keep your fingers crossed. Hope it dries out. We'll get out here and do some more videos. I've got some chainsaw milling to do, but again, I need some dedicated dry weather to do that. So thanks again for watching. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. If there's anybody you think who might enjoy this content, please share the channel with them and encourage them to subscribe. Click the bell icon as well to make sure you know when we upload. This is John from Catbird Hill. Take care.